So first of all, welcome you guys to Freshly Faded. This is our 10th year in business.
10th year.
Yeah, year number 10.
That's right.
So I opened this shop with community in mind. And what we do here once a month, we have these men's circles. And the whole point of the men's circles, because as barbers, you know that barbers are like psychologists in a way.
Right.
So at these men's circles, what we do is we get together and we just discuss things that are going on in our lives. And usually we'll have like a therapist present or a life coach, an author. And, but I guess we're gonna do maybe a miniature version of that. So it's just gonna be, we're just gonna go off of just a simple topic of like, first, what I wanted to talk about is like self-care. Since I'm in the self-care industry, and just basically ask you guys, what does self-care look like for you? Because for every person, it's different. So for me personally, like my self-care is making sure I can go hike a mountain on Sundays and being out in nature solo. Because that's, one of the things I love to do is just to be out in nature, clear my mind and let my thoughts run. For you guys, what does that look like?
I mean, basically, like, per what we are doing, and as an athlete, I usually, like, get to enough time for myself and, just chill with my roommate and, my playmates. I mean, that alone is, like, enough for me to, just, regenerate and gather myself for the next day. So, yeah.
It, the older I get, the more I realize how important it is to spend time with people that you love.
I know.
And it's like there's nothing, in my opinion, there's nothing more important than spending as much time as you can with your friends and family, man.
Yeah.
My problem with self-care is that I don't realize I need it till it's too late sometimes. So I'll be like, dang, I'm just not feeling myself. Like, I'm not feeling like myself anymore today, or something's bothering me and I don't know what it is. And then as soon as I start to get a haircut or take a shower with cold water or like make time for myself, then I realize like, oh, this is what I needed the whole time. And maybe it was my body, giving me the signals.
Have you dialed it in yet to where you can like see those signals early and just like, grab it by the neck from the beginning?
Sometimes I can, but other times it catches me first and I'm like, yo, why do I feel like this? Why do I not feel like myself? And then I do the necessary things and then I'm back to normal.
Right.
What about you though? You said you're in the same boat?
Yeah, there's like, I think being an athlete, there's always a thing where you're consistently like, well, there's more we can do. There's more of this, there's more of that, there's more of this.
Exactly.
And I think that there's some times where, and I've had to learn this, is that at times, instead of giving myself love and myself the appreciation, I think that falls into the self-care as well too, of giving yourself that recognition of an accomplishment or recognition of just, the small things in life. And like I said, with me being an athlete or us being athletes, I think we're so keen on just being consistently, what's next? Okay, we did this, but what's next? What's next?
Right, you're always chasing that next victory without stopping and taking care of yourself.
Do y'all feel pressure like that? A lot of pressure?
Personally, I feel like the pressure that I feel is more so pressure that I put on myself. I think the way I view myself and my goals, I feel they're very achievable, but obviously maybe to the next person, they may not feel that way. So for me, I'm more so like I need to do what I need to do to make sure that goal is achieved. And sometimes I kind of forget about self-care and about life along the journey of trying to reach the goal that I'm trying to reach. So
that can almost be self-destructive.
It 1,000% be self-destructive, especially when you have those hardships when it comes to you're achieving a goal. But like obviously when you're trying to achieve a goal, there's certain things that come up, in between that you got to be able to have that mental toughness of being able to push past that. And if you don't have that self-love and that self-care, when you go through those times, it's just a lot harder to, just to deal with those emotions that may come.
I agree.
So
100%.
It's tough though, because obviously it's easier said than done. But my self-care is more so just how I carry myself, just how I treat people. I feel I'm really big in karma. The way I treat people, I feel I'll get that same back to me. But also, I do take the time out of my day of just making sure that I appreciate myself and I appreciate just kind of like where I've been and what I've come from and adversities and whatnot. And I'm a big believer in God, and I recognize that, you know, where I'm at right now, that, you know, there's a reason that God has put me here. So, but that didn't happen overnight, though. That takes time for me to realize that I need self-care.
So Toomey, like you were telling us that you're from South Africa, and you know you have an uncle in Chicago, and you're so far away from home. Like, what is your self-care like about like not getting that family value every single day? I know food is probably big and it makes you feel like you're at home. So like, what's self-care for you, bro?
For me, self-care is, well, it's kind of tough since my family's away. Luckily, we have technology lately. So I spend most of my time, I'd say, trying to connect with family, even if it's through the phone call, talking to them, and also self-care around my career, which is obviously football.
Right.
I focused a lot on just bettering myself and, you know, working on my mind, because this is a sport that is very taxing, not only on the body, but also on the mind, and just being mindful of making sure that I always sharpen my mind. If it's reading, you know, empowering books or books that help you or motivate you to achieve your goals, then yeah.
As men growing up, were you guys taught to take care of yourselves and make sure you have the self-care?
Or did you have to be tough and like men don't cry, men don't do any of that?
To be honest, growing up, it was kind of tough because my family, or my dad, my mom, they worked literally all day. So the only time I saw them was at night for dinner. And like during the day, I'll be at school. When I come back, I'll be all alone home with my sister. And like I'd have friends. So, and I'd spend time in the streets a lot, playing with friends. And that's where basically I learned how to be a man, from basically other older friends that I had. And they gave you advice, and they kind of like would bully you around, and you'd like pick up, you know, their weaknesses and how to be strong, and that kind of built the character for me.
Man, it seems like we're not too far separated.
Man, that sounds like my story is
For
same.
real.
I was never taught like how to take care of myself because it was never modeled for me. My dad, probably like everyone else's, he worked. And then like the measure of a man back then was protector and provider. And as long as you did that, then you handled everything. So like taking care of yourself definitely was not modeled. Like my dad worked 16 hours a day, like, I don't know, 12 days a week. And yeah, he's just a hardworking guy, but I never saw him take time to like relax and try to take care of himself. And that takes a toll on you. That definitely takes a toll on you over the years. Yeah. But I think that it's dope that they went through that and endured that so we can have the opportunities that we have now,
Exactly.
right? So now we actually have the time to be able to take care of ourselves. Because other people have been doing it for years. Other cultures have been doing it forever. But, you know, for them, it wasn't so much about survival. For our parents and grandparents, it was about like, okay, how do we survive right now under these harsh conditions? And now it's like, okay, now how can our children thrive?
Right.
And I feel like we might be the first generation of people in a long time, people of color, that actually have the ability to like think about thriving, which is dope. And we can't squander it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We shouldn't.
So Deke, going off what you said, like when did you first realize that there was a cycle that needed to be broken?
Like Terrell was saying, like sometimes you don't realize until it's too late. So like last year, for example, when I couldn't physically cut hair from January to April because my neck was all messed up. And, you know, part of it is like, you know, pushing myself too hard, working too many hours, but other parts of it is not managing stress properly.
Right.
Like if I'm
And
not,
that's a big
like,
thing, being able to manage your stress.
Yeah,
bro, if I'm not
That's
like
massive.
sleeping well or eating well or doing some form of meditation, then
It
I'm
affects
messed
everything.
up.
body starts to shut down.
You have to identify that you're stressed out first, and a lot of people don't want to admit that.
Right,
They
exactly.
want to be strong and weather the storm. I got this, and then realize it's too late.
But the
Yeah.
thing is also, like, some people are raised that way in the sense of mental toughness of whatever you're going through. Like, it could be a lot worse.
Right.
So some people, like, which is why it's harder for them. They might not realize what they're going through just because their upbringing is more so like
They were taught to be tough.
tough.
Like none of us has probably ever seen our father cry, right?
No.
I've heard stories, but I'm
Yeah,
I've heard
exactly. I heard
Yeah,
stories.
like,
I
you
ain't never
haven't
seen my
seen
pops
it.
cry.
So then imagine what that does to you. Like if we've never seen them cry, when it's our turn to cry and get that release, we're like,
Right.
man, I can't cry. My dad didn't cry.
Yeah, right.
Right, that's tough. That's tough. And it's almost like for us, this generation, we need that software upgrade of like emotional intelligence.
Type thing.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because when you see that so much of like, let's say your pop's not crying so much, it's inevitable that you just naturally just don't want to cry
Yeah, buddy.
when you want to cry, when you need to cry. And I'm a big person of like, if I need to cry, I'm gonna cry. So
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
afraid to show that emotion. I'm not afraid to let that out because sometimes like that's exactly what you need to let out.
Yeah.
That's a form of self-care as well.
Yeah.
Exactly. Talk your talk. Exactly.
Yeah. Let that out.
So I realized I needed self-care during COVID, like being shut down, not being able to go anywhere, being stuck in the house, and I didn't realize I needed it until two of my cousins passed away. Like my first cousins.
Right.
So once they passed away, I just broke down crying. I haven't cried in like 4 years before that, until 4 years before that. So like once I did that, I started doing yoga again, like meditating, breathing, and reaching out to family that I haven't talked to in a long time and trying to really find myself, asking questions about where I come from.
Right.
You know, so that's why I asked you guys, like, how do you feel being so far away from home? Because like for us, you know, some Black Americans, we don't really know where we come from. We have to have our own culture and create it.
Right.
So like I started realizing, like, man, I have people from the Mende tribe in Sierra Leone. Like I wonder how they got down, how they
Right.
moved.
Right.
So I know it's tough on some of y'all.
And also, I feel like being in a tough situation, like for instance, I'm gonna take my situation for example. Like, I was back in Ghana and I was stuck over the COVID period. I couldn't come back to the state. It was very, very hard for me. I mean, as an athlete, I couldn't shut down my mind because
Right.
I think like this is my job and I need to keep doing what I need to get better.
Right.
So I just kept training and kept focusing on my goal. Like kept doing what I'm doing best. Like I'm not doing best, and it just worked out for me. I joined the team, and everything was on point. So at that moment when I was really down, I really took care of myself. Like I really engaged in what I feel like I need to do to get better, and
Right.
it just everything started reconnecting. So I think that is an important stuff.
Yeah, it was interesting that like during COVID, it almost forced us to be still for a moment.
Be still, but also like and also I'm speaking on a personal experience. It also made me just like think about my life, think about like me personally, because obviously when you're indoors for that long consistently, like you ain't got no choice but to only think about like yourself, at least at like certain times.
Right, you're gonna have to look at that mirror eventually.
Eventually, and I think that was like the time where like, I mean, of course, like football is my life. Like football, like I take it serious, but I didn't know that I could take it even more serious after COVID, because during COVID, like I'm thinking about like this stuff could be taken away in a heartbeat. Right. Like this stuff is out of my control. Therefore, like I need to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do, whether it's self-love, self-care, whether it's training on my own, whether it's making sure I'm eating right, whatever it is. The point is, like, I need that self-love, especially during COVID, just because like you're so much by yourself. So it was but COVID was a very, very tough year, not only for athletes, but I think for just everyone as a whole.
Yeah, and I think as Black people, like it's almost to the point where we take it for granted how resilient we are.
1000%.
It's like, okay, we know we're gonna survive this, right? But then what's the other side of that? What's the nurturing side look like? We could talk all day about the stuff we overcome. Okay, we get it, we overcame, right? We're going to continue to overcome. But what does the other side of that look like? And then I also think about sometimes of like, from a legacy standpoint, what things am I doing, that are gonna help my children, right?
Right.
Because I know for you guys are standing on the shoulders of like some giants in football, like Pele.
Type thing, yeah, exactly.
He's the greatest of all time,
The greatest.
and he's Black. And it's interesting. It's just interesting that you guys are in a city that's 6.5%, 6.5% black people. So usually, if you go into a room, you're gonna be the only black person there. What does that feel like? Especially you guys coming from Africa, where everyone is black, to a place where you're the only black person.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of tough. Well, I'd say in some cases it's tough based off culture, because obviously culture for like the culture in Africa, or let's say in South Africa, is totally different from the culture here of black people. And like, you know, there's certain ways like you talk, and like there's certain jokes that you'd say that like you'd only understand if you're back from South Africa and here.
Yeah.
And here it's just like, I guess it's maybe a little harder to connect, you know, with, which, yeah.
And I feel like I'm full aware of myself. Like when I moved to the States, other than like when I'm moving to like, you know, other different African countries, you know what I'm saying? Like when I'm here, I know I'm in America.
Yeah.
So, you know, I gotta do what I need to do, and I have to be, you know, a little bit careful. But when I probably like, travel to other part of like, you know, the country, like precisely like among African countries,
Yeah.
like we are all brothers, like, you know.
Yeah.
And the feeling is different.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like even in Fresno, that's like full of poverty, Mexicans, black folk, like African Americans or whatnot, like, and the police are still very like I'm gonna use the word judgmental, and it's for me, even being in my home city, and in an area like Fresno, like it's still to the point where like I drive by a cop in my home city and I'm still like so nervous. I'm nervous, and I shouldn't, as a black man, I shouldn't feel that way, that I'm nervous to drive next to a cop.
Yeah.
Do you have
Yeah.
kids?
No, I don't have kids.
If you did have kids, would you teach them to be afraid of the police, or?
Not to be afraid of police, but to be aware of police. So my pops from the west side of Fresno, and the west side of Fresno is a lot different than the east side of Fresno. I was grateful enough to you know, to have two parents that love each other and stay together. And I know how you know, I know what a blessing that is, right? You know, alone. But my pops, you know, coming from where he came from, like he made sure that he gave all his kids game on, you know, just what it means to be a black person in America. And some of it's sad, some of it is obviously to be proud of, 1,000%, because not all black history is something that's depressing or sad, because there's a lot of black history that's very, very, very big and something to be proud of. But my pops gave me a lot of game when it came to like just the small things, such as like I'm giving an example in the sense of like, and it may sound crazy, but as a black man coming into my neighborhood, my dad taught me to not play my music loud. You play your music loud coming into your neighborhood, that draws attention. You draw attention, then now people are looking at you and maybe in a different shape, you know, different shape, different form, or whatever it is. And I think about it, and I'm like, if I was a different color, would my dad still give me the same game that he gave me right now? And I don't think he would. So it's just little stuff like that coming from Fresno, and I'm sure it's like that obviously in no matter where you go, but coming from Fresno, in my own experience, it's just a little disappointing that my pops even has to even give me game on something like that.
It's interesting because those are some freedoms. Even though we were free, those are some freedoms that are taken away.
1,000%.
Right? So that's why I think it's dope. Nina Simone has that song where she goes, I wish I knew how it feels to be free. So like, we're not slaves, but then there's certain freedoms that we don't have, right? And then it's things that we become aware of. So like, instead of walking as giants sometimes, we have to like make ourselves less than what we are. And that
1,000%.
is crazy.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
Yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow. And then think about how hard it was for your dad to tell you that.
I can only imagine.
Because he probably was trying to change it and got to the point where he realized like, hey, I'm not gonna be able to change this generation. Hopefully, maybe my son's generation could change this.
Right.
But like, just think about how hard it was for him to say that. Like, hey, can't play your music loud.
Can't play music loud. Knowing I want to pull up to my crib,
Right, you got a new car, got the sub finally put in.
Like I'm trying to have my dad hear the music I'm bumping. Maybe he might like what I'm playing, but I can't do it. But I can't do that just because of what he taught me. And it's like, it's cool. But like I just, you know, every now and then I may have those times where like I wish I could just pull up to my crib and be the skin color that I am, bumping my music, and no one judge me any type of way.
Right.
Not saying that I'm bumping it crazy loud, but to the point where like I'm damn near turning it off,
Right.
pulling up to my crib because I don't want the attention on me.
I know I'm not the only one that turns my radio down when the police get behind me.
Oh, I turn it down.
Take my hat off.
You're not gonna pull me over
Roll the
because
window down.
you're not gonna pull me over because my music loud. Heck no.
It's like, man, can they hear us inside of our own car? But I think like we're the only people that have to deal with things like that.
Bro, we're the only people that have to deal with just seeing a regular Crown Vic and thinking it's a cop. I'm like,
Type
man, that's
thing.
just my homie from the neighborhood.
Type
Like,
thing.
Car got
Type
a
thing.
satellite on it?
Right. I don't need the X Games. I'll just ride around my neighborhood with the police. That's enough adrenaline for me. Man.
But it's even crazy how like just what I like. No matter if I do something different, or if I like slow down or whatnot, whatever it is, it's just what I feel when I see a cop. I hate that I feel a certain way when I see a cop, in the sense of like for instance, even this morning, I'm driving a train and I see a cop, and next thing you know, my heart starts beating a little fast, because you just never know in a certain situation only because of a skin color. But again, like, it's crazy and it's weird and it may sound crazy, but there's times where I take pride in that.
Right.
I take pride in the sense of like some people may feel threatened based off my skin color. Because I'll take it and I turn it into like, okay, like
Superpower almost.
I have a superpower that they don't have, that maybe that they wish they had.
Right.
But that's what I tell myself to make me feel a lot better whenever I get a crazy look, or maybe if someone tells me something backwards and I'm like, you don't know what you just said, and they don't realize what they just said. Maybe they do realize what they just said, but the way I handle it is just by telling myself that I got a superpower that they wish that they had.
You know, I love what you said. The only thing is, what I've learned from superhero movies, you have superpowers, they're scared of you. And when they're scared of you, they don't try to get to understand you. So they react and do things, to remind you like, yeah, you're not super. I don't care how big how you talk like you're not black, but I'm gonna remind you that where you come from.
But that's why Black
It's a
History Month.
systemic problem.
And that's why Black History Month is so important, because it's a great time to recognize our culture, our history, and it's also a great time to highlight, you know, the African Americans or even Africans that have done a lot for our country. And I think a lot of times that kind of gets forgotten about. Therefore, when it gets forgotten about, there's a lot of people that make judgments on black folks.
Yeah.
And not understanding that black folks can also contribute the same way as other people, not just because we can't contribute because we're a certain skin color.
Right.
What's trippy to me is that some black people are ashamed of Black History Month.
And it's crazy.
They want to avoid it, and then it's like, there was a school that was serving watermelon and chicken for Black History Month,
I saw that.
And a lot of people were mad about it, but that's our culture at the end of the day.
Bro,
I mean,
we brought the seeds of watermelons with us from Africa. That's how important that was to us. So like other cultures can have their indigenous foods, right? The foods that they brought with them, corn and rice, you know what I'm saying? But then when it's our turn, okay, now it's a big problem. Chicken is delicious, and so is
we
watermelon.
don't like chicken, right? Like, don't pretend like
Could you imagine about to be enslaved and you can only grab a few things and you grab some seeds to take with you?
Right.
And then your descendants later on are gonna feel ashamed for carrying on that tradition? Out of here. I'm gonna eat watermelon today just because of that. But yeah, Black History Month does put a spotlight on a lot of the contributions and the great things that we've done.
1000%. 1000%.
What's your guys' favorite thing about being black?
The fact that people are intimidated by me. Love that.
Yep.
Love that so much.
Makes you the automatic underdog. You know.
About you?
But it's weird because it's like a love and hate relationship, because I hate that people are intimidated by my skin, but I use that to
To your advantage.
exactly.
It's like that's why I say like they feel like you have some type of superpowers, like kind of scared of us, like
But if you think I got a superpower, then I probably do. I probably do then.
You do.
I probably do then. Shit, you. Sorry for my language. I shouldn't have
No,
said
it's good.
that.
You're good.
I shouldn't have
You're
said
good.
that.
Yeah.
But like, just if someone comes up to me talking sideways and thinking that I got a superpower, you're not the first one to think that. So if multiple people are thinking that, then you must be right that I got a superpower. Then
Right.
you must be right.
Yeah, as a business owner, like it was so tough to even get off the ground because everyone has an idea of what it is that you're trying to do before you even present your idea to them.
Right.
I want to open a barbershop. Okay, it's going to be loud in there, be smoking weed, like that type of thing. I met that so many times. They wanted to see a business plan, how much money I had in the bank, equity in my house. I'm like, come on, man, it's just a barbershop.
It's just exactly.
I'm not opening a
You don't need all that.
dispensary.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I think it's very important that we have our spaces, man.
Yeah.
Our spaces. I hope one day you guys can have ownership in a team too. I think that's moving forward. Yeah. Playing on a team is one thing, but once we get equity,
And own that
you know what I'm
thing?
saying? Then that's where the power comes into play.
So one of my goals in life was obviously knowing where I've came from. I played obviously soccer in South Africa for the academy, and it didn't go so well, and like an opportunity opened up for me to come to the States through school, and through school I then was able to play and get to become professional. And one of my goals was to kind of create that pathway for kids from South Africa to be able to not only focus on soccer but also their education. And this past off season, I hosted a tournament back in South Africa, which I wasn't expecting the tournament to get a lot of hype. What I was expecting was maybe 10 teams or so to show up.
But
and
even
have the
that's a lot
tournament.
too, though. 10 teams, like
I
even
know.
that's a lot.
But then as soon as the word went out, I had like a response of the tournament ended up having 54 teams in it.
54 teams.
Wow.
Man, bro, that's
Just because
You build it, they will come type of deal, huh?
And that got me thinking, I guess, in a sense of why was I afraid not to start it all along? And like in my mind, I was telling myself that I wasn't ready personally, and it's gonna be a lot of work. I don't have the resources to do that, and
Was it you, or did you hear that from somebody else before, and it just like subconsciously stuck with you?
so I was working with my former coach from South Africa. So I played with him, like I played on his team, and he's the one who came up with, who said to me, hey, let's try host a tournament under your name, just to honor you and just to thank the community and to show them that you appreciate what they've done for you and for supporting you throughout your career. And I agreed and said, yeah, we can do it. And we were organizing it for literally 10 teams. And as soon as we put the word out, it just blew up, and I managed to put together a team that would help me actually organize it properly. And I got a bit of sponsorship from the council back in South Africa.
How did it make you feel to see all those people come together off an idea that you had to get black people together?
It was amazing. I had a lot of supporters come to me and say that they appreciate what I've done, and they were waiting for something like this for a long time, and they hope that I continue doing it, which is obviously something I plan on doing annually. And yeah, I just got a lot of positive feedback, and yeah, hopefully moving on forward, it will be something that I can probably lead forward and own it fully and just progress it.
See, to me, that's black excellence, 1,000%.
Yeah.
And that's some black excellence that I'm trying to do myself. And it's amazing and I've had that conversation with Toomey that's something that like is so inspiring to me because even like for Evie, like in his hometown, like I'm sure that he got a group of people that would love for him to host something. I got a group of people in my hometown that would love to host something, but I have another black brother that has done the same thing like that, and he had a turn out like that. So it's just for me, it's so motivating to hear someone like Toomey just speak on that and just be able to give back in a sense like that. And honestly, it's actually pretty cool too. The fact that he was expecting only 10 teams but got 54 teams. Like, come on now.
Right. Can we get a round of applause on that?
Come on now. Like that's like that's that
Yeah.
stuff right there. That's that stuff right there.
Yeah. I think it's interesting how we're all united in the fact that
you brought me back
we're
to life.
doing it for not only for ourselves
You
but
brought
the
me back to
people
life.
coming after us. Like that's really dope.
Appreciate you. Yes, sir. That's just the excellence that I think we all strive for, but I think there's some things that maybe it may not be exactly maybe a tournament, but whatever it is within our own field, we may have the same feelings in the sense of, I don't know if I have the right resources, I don't know if I can do this, I can do that, but again, like we got a superpower.
Right. This very shop is an example of that. Like,
Exactly.
you know, he built it, and we're here now. We don't know how far this message is gonna go, or who it's gonna inspire to do the same thing. And you know, maybe one day we might be back in Egypt with this.
But the thing is too, I know before you started the shop, it wasn't easy to start the shop.
No.
A lot of tribulations done came up before you even started the shop.
A lot of fear and self-doubt.
1000%.
And then it's almost like you have to push through that doubt. Just like you were saying, like when that doubt is there, you know that just on the other side of it, just barely, and it's flimsy. That fear is very flimsy. And once you just push through, you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. Yeah. But it seems like an insurmountable task for sure.
Yeah, you tap into that superpower and be like, you know what?
I'm gonna get through this.
Yep.
Somebody got through something worse. This
Exactly.
is easy work.
But yeah, how do y'all feel about being black in America?
We were talking about this earlier, and we were saying how our brothers here are from Africa. Yep. So they're Africans in America,
Right.
and we're African American.
Right.
And even though that doesn't sound like there's a difference, there is. And it's just like, man, we kind of wish that we had that culture of being from somewhere and then being able to go somewhere else and having both of those cultures, but we're like in this weird gray area. So it's kind of, I don't know.
It's also interesting, like that movie came out, Black Panther, and then we were able to unite under a fictionalized version of Africa. And that showed the thirst for like that we have internally for Africa. Yeah. It's like, dang, somebody can put a fictionalized version, and then we are all like Wakanda forever. Just imagine, just imagine if we had, you know, tapped into a culture where we knew what the symbols were, we knew how to move and operate. Because if you were around that time period that movie came out, just the pride that we had in seeing each other, right? We were like, what's up, what's up? Just imagine walking around with that all the time because we never had that disconnect from our culture.
I think Black Panther was like great for Black Americans. Like my son is biracial, but he loves Black Panther. He throws it up all the time, and like that connectivity to something that we don't know. Like there was a guy here, he used to say like we're the lost ones, and I always believe like we have a culture, but we don't really know who we are. You know, so we had to create our own, and the fact that we create our own, it shows that we are tapped into something much larger than ourselves. So I love being Black in America. With everything else that comes with it, like you said, man, we're powerful people, and like we just have to continue to push that narrative. Like, hey, we're powerful. You're like not mugging each other when we're walking down the street, but saying hi, asking how we're doing. You know what I mean? Asking how you're doing, and giving affirmations to each other instead of like just mugging. Like, why do we do that?
Yeah.
You know.
It's also amazing too, and it's something that's actually really funny to me. Where like you see a lot of memes about it, and a lot of like funny things about it. That like when Black folks greet other Black folks, it's a certain connection that we have.
Yeah, that head nod or
head nod. You can see someone on the street walk by them, you gonna give them a head nod. But that just goes back to just the connection that like I may see you on the street and not know you, but I may give you a head nod.
Right.
But it's just that connection that Black folks have towards each other, and that understanding that Black folks has towards each other. And I think that's something that it's kind of unspoken about.
Right.
It's like an unspoken thing. But like I said, if I see any of y'all on the street, to me, Ebby on the street, and I see y'all, I'm gonna give y'all one of these.
Right. That's funny you say that.
I'm gonna
'cause
give you one of these.
I was in Thailand and I saw another black person. Every time I saw another black person, we showed each other so much love. My girlfriend who's Thai, she didn't get it. She was like, "Why are you guys?" I was like, "Cause we're out here. Like, you know, we got to see
we
each
out
other."
here. That's right. That's
It's
right.
almost like an unspoken truce that we have. Because if
Exactly.
something happens,
Hey, I
we're
got you.
already gonna,
Right, I got
without
you,
even
bro.
saying a word. Without even saying a word. It's so interesting, man.
But even this, it's also like something like crazy and like something like playful in the sense of like, let's say you in the gym and someone does a crazy dunk.
yeah.
Black folks' natural reaction,
Yeah.
we running out the gym.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We running out the gym. Like that's crazy. We run out
Yeah,
the gym.
we're gonna run out.
And other people's like culture and their reality is just not that.
Yeah.
And that just goes back to just how much like I may not know the next black person or the next X, Y, and Z, but therefore we still connected in one way or another.
Yeah.
You may not
yeah.
think that, I may not think that, but we still connected in one way or another because we still have maybe some of the same mannerisms, such as walking down the street, seeing other black folks, and we just saying what's up.
Yeah.
You good? All right, that's it. Because this right here means a lot.
Yeah.
You
A
asked the
lot.
question of like, what do we love about being black? I love that no matter where I am in the States, if I go to any black cookout, it's gonna be some music that I'm familiar with. It's gonna be an uncle or somebody's uncle, auntie, or whatever that I'm gonna feel like I know them already.
Like you family damn
You know what I
near.
mean? Like you just have these jokes.
Yeah.
We have these acronyms that you can just put an acronym out there. We're like, I know what that means.
Yep. It
You know
could be
what I
like IGYAMBSOTWXYZ, and only we will know what it
Right.
means.
It could be
and
someone-
laugh about it too.
It could be an older person that you don't know, and next thing you know, that's Unc.
Right.
That's
right.
Unc.
Right.
I don't know you, you don't know my family,
Yeah.
but you Unc though.
Yeah. That's handshakes.
Handshakes, same
Right.
thing. Like
Universally.
and that's what's so amazing to me just about being black is the fact that I cannot know Ebby or Toomey, but when I dap them up, like it's
Yeah.
gonna be that connection.
We're gonna be united in that struggle in something.
When I walk down the street, we gonna have that connection.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's so amazing just about, for me personally, just about being black, is that I'm connected to a lot of black folks, and I don't know it, and they don't know it. And that's just, and that's so beautiful to me.
I just want to give my flowers to D though, for real. I've done this multiple times outside of all of this, but I want to give him his flowers because when I came out here, I was in the Navy, bounced around from barbershop to barbershop. And when I came in here, it just, something about it felt different. And I see what he did for the neighborhood. And it's like, it came full circle for me working here. Like what he does for the kids, what he does for men in this area, just for black people in general. This dude, man, you think he's like Iron Man for real. Like,
right,
he
that's
really,
right. That's right, though.
He really doesn't
That's right,
stop in
though.
the opportunities he provides. And I've only seen a fraction of it. I haven't seen what he's done over the past, 15 plus years that you've been cutting. But like, this shop is amazing. And I think anybody who comes in here, they feel what he has built. So
'Cause it's contagious.
Like, you talking about a round of applause.
No, that stuff's contagious. 1,000%.
And I feel like part of my self-care is to say thank you and to accept that. Because before in the past, I wouldn't. I'm like, just, something I do. But like, that's again, me not showing that emotion of like, man, thank you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. To the fact that I think it's important that I give you a hug right now. Right. To show
as you should. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Y'all got it.
I appreciate you, bro.
That's love right there.
you too.
That's love. Yes, sir.
I think we can
Y'all brought out some emotions with me.
No. That's what we need right there. That's what we need.
Man.
That's like good stuff right there.
About
Yes,
to win
sir.
an Emmy for And it's funny because we weren't even acting.
No. I just want to say to y'all three black men too, boy, y'all look fresh now, boy.
Hey, look, we got a game this weekend. They
amazing.
say look good, feel good, play good.
Right,
That's right. You guys got to rest.
Look good, feel good, play good. I got a fresh cut, so I'm about to play amazing this weekend.
Yeah.